So when you're deciding these fights, the fights that oftentimes the public look at through a boxing lens and go, they're setting this guy up to fail, is the mentality, and did you start this early on, if we don't put our prospects up against each other, we're just going to have easy wins and it's going to be boring like boxing?
When you get to the fucking top 5, top 3 in the UFC, you've been through the fucking gauntlet. So, you know, right now in boxing, and always in boxing, WBC, IBF, WBA, da-da-da-da-da, right? You go, well, who's the best?
Yeah.
And none of these guys are going to fight each other.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know who the... If you are the fucking world champion, there's no fucking questioning who the best is because you've already run through, you know, the baddest fucking people in the world in your weight class.
And now I understand why you get annoyed by media, because I remember when Sean was, Sugar Sean was coming up and he was getting that, there was this narrative that like he was being protected, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember, matter of fact, Sean was with us in Phoenix, I think. We were doing a show in Phoenix and we watched, no, what did we watch? We watched, was it the Gaethje fight?
I think so.
No, I think it was Haney Garcia. But yeah. But and he was getting this like rep, like, oh, they're protecting their golden goose, whatever. And I remember, it's so funny. I remember the Jan fight. I was like, oh, they're done with him. They're gonna feed him to Jan. They don't think he's got it. That's my mentality coming from boxing, because that's what you would do if you were a boxing promoter.
Right.
And then him getting that dub changed his trajectory. So maybe that's what you got to do. Maybe you got to put him into the fire immediately.
100%. If you make it into the fucking UFC, right? You're not fighting easy fights.
Yeah.
There is no feeding the golden goose. And how the fuck is he the golden goose?
There's no tomato.
When we just fucking found him,
incentive.
He's never won a fucking world title.
Yeah.
He does, you know. You don't know. You fucking test these guys.
Sorry to interrupt. There's this idea with boxing, I think, which was like,
well, now they're saying it about oh, Jesus Christ. Bo Nichols. Now they're saying about Bo Nichols. Oh, Bo Nichols fucking, you know what I mean? It's like,
now I understand
they said the
frustration.
same thing about Conor.
Because you're like, I'm making the best fights. And then when I do make the best fights, you say that I'm throwing someone out. And when it's that when he wins easily, you're like, I'm protecting him. So you're like, I can't win no matter what fight I make. And they're the interesting fights. So I understand you go there and you go, fuck the media. Okay, now it makes sense. Because they'll never be happy. They have to find a way to criticize.
And it's not even that they'll never be happy. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. You know, the great. It's one of the irritating things, but it's one of the greatest things about the business too.
Why?
Because let's say I came on here today, right, and I wanted to talk to you guys about the big cricket game this weekend. All right.
I know.
Yeah, you'd be the only fucking one. Okay. My point is, when you talk about fights, everybody has an opinion because everybody thinks they're a fucking expert. And nobody thinks they're an expert about fucking cricket, and some of these other sports. But fighting, everybody has an opinion. One reason or another, you don't like his fucking attitude. Like, if I brought up fucking Jake Paul, pretty much everybody in the room and the other room wants to see Jake Paul get knocked out. So you're hoping, you know, you got the reason why you hope Tyson would pull this off. Or
did you help set that up? Because I know you're close with Tyson.
God, no. When this fight happens, Tyson will be 58 fucking years.
I'm worried about him.
Under any circumstances, a fucking almost 60-year-old man shouldn't be fighting a 27-year-old fucking guy under any circumstances, even if it's Mike Tyson. So it's fucking ridiculous.
Now, do you think he can pull it off?
Do I think Tyson can land a shot? Yeah, if Tyson hits him.
But if Tyson lands it, like, what happens to the internet? Tyson knocks out
my biggest problem with the Jake Paul thing is, and how this plays out, is when he actually fought somebody who was a boxer, who had the same type of record he has, who is his age,
Tommy,
and who is his size, he fucking lost.
Yeah.
So they're never going to go that fucking route again, right?
Close fight.
And they're trying to pull this whole narrative, like when people, I saw some guy the other day say, when are you going to stop fighting gimmick fights? You going to call Mike Tyson a gimmick?
Yeah. It is a gimmick fight, but if I'm him, I would never fight anything else but gimmick fights if I'm him.
Yeah.
I mean, he has to maybe...
If you can keep getting paid, right?
Tens of millions of dollars,
100%.
You do it. Like,
so then why are you so concerned about that?
If you got people that are fucking dumb enough to pay for that shit, and fucking, you know...
Well, it's on Netflix. You don't even have to pay now.
Huh?
It's on Netflix. You don't even have to pay.
And brilliant move, too, because You don't have to go pay. Everybody has fucking Netflix. So just turn it on. Fuck it. I'll turn it on and see what happens.
So why are you so against the fight? Is it really just because of Mike's
I'm not against it.
Oh,
I love Mike Tyson.
Okay.
He's fucking almost 60 years old.
So you're just worried for
You know
his
what I
health.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even though you see the way he's training and the way he looks,
My
he
fucking
still looks.
back is killing me today. Killing me. I have no idea why. I guess it's because I'm 50 fucking 4. You know what I mean?
That's reasonable.
I'm 54, so I guess that's why my back is fucking killing me today.
Yeah. So Mike is
This guy's 27. He's in his fucking prime.
Yeah.
As a human.
Yeah.
And it's fucking.
But the internet explodes.
And I love Mike, and nobody wants to see Mike get beat by this fucking jerk off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Why
I think
do you
no one
think-
wants to see Mike lose.
Yeah. I think. But also, you and Mike are close, right?
Yeah, I fucking love Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson was one of the guys that I fucking idolized growing up, and one of the guys that made me love boxing as much as I do.
Didn't you tell me a story? Was it you to tell me a story about Mike was going to do something. You're like, let me make some calls for you. And then you got Shark Week.
Yeah, when he was fighting. He was fighting.
Yeah.
And I said, don't fight. I'll help you make money doing other shit or whatever. So I got him a show on Shark Week. And he's like, so wait a minute, let me get this fucking straight. Yeah. So I've been fighting my whole life. This is what I fucking do. You're worried about me, so you're gonna throw me in the ocean? He's like, fuck you, Dave. I didn't think about it that way. So apparently, the day that they shot that episode of him on Shark Week, everybody on set was fucking terrified because he was so freaked out by the whole shark thing. He was literally ready to beat the shit out of everybody on set. And fucking, I probably shouldn't have got him a Shark Week show. That was probably a bad idea.
Now, I want to go back to what you're saying, what we were talking about earlier with interesting fights. I don't think I know anything about fighting. I know nothing about fighting. What do you look at and say, this is an interesting fight? What is that criteria for you?
So, a couple of things. You take styles. Styles make fights.
Right.
So stylistically, you try to put together the best fights that you possibly can. You got some up and coming guys like you'll get a guy like a Saint Denis or a Sean O'Malley. Some of these kids that are so talented that they're blowing through guys that are on their level. So then you start to think, is he ready for this guy who might be a top 15 ranked guy? Is he ready for a 13? Is he ready for this? And there's only one way to find out.
Do it.
You got to test them. Okay. So you got to look at a guy's age. Once you get these kids that are undefeated, right? And I'll give you an example. Perfect example. This one plays out exactly right. You have Ian Gary, who's undefeated. Been in the UFC for a while. Taking on the older MVP, right? Who just came in and beat Kevin Holland. Very exciting, either way this is going to go. Ian's undefeated, and he's in the rankings now and on his way to a possible title shot. MVP comes in, he's been fighting in another organization, just beat Holland, England versus Ireland. There's so many different little pieces and parts to go in. But these two, who's going to win that fight?
That's the thing. It's just so hard.
Who the fuck knows?
What makes the UFC is going to win that fight.
You know what I mean? Right?
Okay.
So you don't know who's going to win is what makes that fight so fucking great, right? When you do these fights in boxing, right?
Yeah.
All you have to do, you don't have to know one fucking guy involved in the fight. You don't even have to know who they are. Go look at the odds. Whoever the guy is that's the favorite, and it's usually by a huge number,
they win it.
It's guaranteed that guy's going to fucking win.
Okay.
In the UFC, there are no fucking guarantees, no matter what the odds are, who they are, or what the deal is. Saint Denis, I'm sure, was a huge favorite in the Poirier fight.
Yeah.
Poirier fucking walked through him.
Okay, what do you do when you have a fighter that has a boring style, but is incredibly good?
Depends on what that style
Great
is.
question.
And that style is usually wrestling.
Yeah.
These guys that can lay you down and just, So what you do is you try to match them up with a guy who's got really good takedown defense.
So it stays on the feet.
Or the guy can get back up. So what you want to do is you take the guy who's the dry humper and fucking goes in and does that to you, and you find a guy who has great takedown defense and good hands.
So now he has to see if he has hands, and if it does get down to the wow. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm curious, how did you learn the importance of storytelling? I know more about like lower ranked UFC guys than I do about the highest ranked boxers ever. And I don't think that's an accident. So where did you learn that from? Who inspired that? And then how did you start to implement that?
So it's one of the things that we try to do early on. I mean, no matter what your fucking story is, right? There's always some type of storyline in a fight. And that's what you have to get people sold on. More than a fight. I can tell you this fight's going to be great or whatever, but you have no rooting interest. You want to create a rooting interest. I mean, I just did it with my bull. So my bull was taking on a fucking cowboy. My bull's buck rate at the time was like fucking 88 or 89%, right?
This is Twisted Steel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
PBR.
And the cowboy that he was going up against that night had beat him already and rode him.
What was his name?
I can't remember. what
Probably Brazilian guy?
What his name was. But going into that thing, if he rides my bull, he gets ranked into the top 10 and could go to the finals and all this shit. So it's basically, you can make anything a fight, right? And create a rooting interest. Then people go, I don't give a shit about bull riding, but holy shit, this is Dana's bull. He's beat everybody in the last however long. This guy actually rode him once. If he rides him again, you know what I mean? Yeah. Now there's I'm interested in this. I want to see if this guy rides him or doesn't ride him.
Was that something you always knew, or did that develop over time?
I've always been into it. You always have to create a reason for somebody to fucking care to watch something.
That's why the show worked on Spike.
Huh?
Yeah.
The show, it's like you got into the characters on the show.
Well, it's like the Olympics. You know what I mean? When you go into the Olympics, you don't know any of these fucking kids,
doesn't
right?
matter. You know, red,
but
white, and blue.
There's a storyline behind it, and there's, you know, the other thing is, what's at risk? What's at risk here? What do we? Well, it's America versus fucking, you know, England, or America versus this or that. Who's the American person, and why do I care about them? And who's the English person? Why do I don't want to like them so that the American will win, or vice versa? I mean, that you always have to have what's at stake, and
so you're intentional with that when the fighters are young.
Exactly.
So you're building them up from young.
Yep. So if you look at what we do with the Contender Series, right, which is the best fucking show on TV, the best unsigned fighters in the world come in, and it's not about winning. I don't give a fuck if you win or lose. I want to see who you are. I want to see what you got.
Yeah.
It's about, this is your fucking job interview, and you have 3 fucking rounds to show me who you are.
Get after it.
And these fucking kids come in and they fucking go. And in that, we tell their story, who they are, where they come from. So before you ever set foot in the UFC, if I sign you, millions of people have already seen you fight.
So
and it's the same thing with looking for a fight. When I go on the road looking for a fight, millions of people see these kids fight before they ever set foot in the UFC. Yeah. So we already start the storytelling before they even get in the UFC.
Is there anything that the UFC does to either help or incentivize the fighters to show their personality? Because we see people like McGregor, Stylebender, like,
great question.
They sell themselves in tandem with how the UFC helps us.
I don't give a fuck if you're a deaf mute. Okay?
Oh, really?
I could care less. That does not matter to me. Are you a bad motherfucker?
Wow.
Are you a bad motherfucker? If you get somebody that has the Conor McGregor, Ronda Rousey, you know, Sugar Sean O'Malley type of personality, that's just a home run. That's just a plus.
God, that's
you know what I mean?
Okay.
Oh, wow.
But in this sport, you can't do anything based off, let's see what their personality is like. Are you a bad motherfucker?
Well,
if you're the baddest motherfucker in the world, people don't give a shit about your personality. They want to see you fight.
Yeah, Khabib. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, what about, that's right, he's a pious, religious dude, and people will tune on to any single, okay.